What's going on for victims and villains? My name is Josh. Today we're going to be talking about the mental health aspects of A Creature Was Stirring, which is now available on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital from Wellgo Entertainment. Now, if you haven't checked out my review, I'll link it at the end of this episode, or you guys can click the link in the descriptions below. This video is going to contain spoilers, so if you have not seen the movie yet, please go check it out from our friends over at Wellgo Entertainment. I promise you it is well worth the watch. Honestly, one of the things that I talked about in my review is the less that you know about this movie, the better it's going to be. So this is your last chance. If you haven't seen it, we are officially entering into spoiler territory. I put a trigger warning on this video simply because this movie deals very heavily with addiction and the cost of that lifestyle, but also at the same time specifically addressing how messy and triggering sometimes the recovery process can be. And I just want to put a trigger warning that if you've ever gone through that or you're currently going through that, this may not be a movie to put on your radar. It's a great movie, but I would not recommend it to anyone that's currently going through some of the things that the film discusses. Chrissy Metz plays a recovering addict in this who also happens to be a mother. There's a point in the movie where her daughter actually asks her, "What's the worst thing you've ever done?" She actually notes in the film that during her addiction days, one of the things that she loved doing most was actually corrupting innocence, as she puts it. And by the time the film reaches the end, it kind of feels like that conversation was just kind of a one-off, and it proved not to be. What I really loved about this movie is how ghosts of past choices actually stick with you, especially when you dive into lifestyles of either addiction or alcoholism or any variation thereof. It's revealed that the actual two quote-unquote home invaders of this film were actually just figments of Metz's imagination, and she actually ended up corrupting the male home invader played by Connor Paolo in this movie. And it's also alluded that she also, while introducing his character to drugs and his quote-unquote first high, it's also alluded that she may have actually sexually assaulted him, bringing into the world the birth of her daughter. And this entire sequence is wrapped around this notion that reframes the entirety of the film, where both Paolo and Compton's character were both figments of her imagination and kind of the ghosts of the worst thing that she ever had done. Lots of people that I love go through the addiction process, and really how that breaks them, creates an entirely new person, and the recovery process is essentially a coping process because you're coming to terms and coming to grips with the very things that you did while you were on whatever mind-altering substance you were on. And I think one of the things that this film kind of feels like as a cautionary tale is that Metz spends the entirety of the film by herself in this home. And it kind of seems like, and it's framed in the narrative, that Metz literally spends the entirety of her journey alone. She dives into work, she's dove into motherhood, and she's trying to kind of balance the two. Sometimes being in recovery means being around people that are going through that similar journey so that you can go through it together, so that A, you're reminded that you're not alone, and B, also at the same time that you can have accountability to actually come out of the other side of the recovery journey. That's part of the reason why sponsors are so big when people are getting into the recovery community and the recovery process, is because they hold you accountable. They know what it's like and the things that you're gonna feel. And I think this film captures that perfectly, and also serves as a cautionary tale for the recovery process to surround people that are going to have your best interest in mind. The recovery process is not something that is, a year or two of your life. Recovery is something that you are now implementing into your everyday life, and perhaps for the rest of your life. I think this movie profoundly captures the cautionary tale of attempting to do recovery by yourself, and also the ghosts that can come with that. So if you or someone you know is struggling with any drug addiction or any addiction at all, click the links in the descriptions below to check out our mental health resource library. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, A Creature is Stirring is now available wherever you guys get your Blu-rays, DVDs, or digital. Highly recommend it. Check out our review on it as well. And until next time, remember to stay classy.